Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and I'm the host to the podcast, The Truth That Heals. Now, for those of you who aren't aware about my story, I'll make it very quick. I joined a religious community within the Catholic Church, and quick note, I still am Catholic. But in this community, I expected it to be very transparent, very legit. And what happened instead was there were a lot of things that weren't legit, a lot of things that were done which were very cultish and were very abusive. However, for this episode, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus more on the humiliation that ex-members received while I was in the community. Because I would see people who were leaving would be shamed, ridiculed in homilies. They would say, oh, this person is hexed, this person is a misfit, this person is infested by demons. And I'm bringing this to light because I was so brainwashed, my thought had been reformed to look at all ex-members as being unloved by God. It was really an us versus them mentality. And anyone who leaves this mission, anyone who leaves Father Bing or Mother Agnes or this movement, you look at them almost as if they are hated by God, because that's pretty much what they would preach. That's what they would teach to us. As me, as a former member, that's what I would hear. That you are a misfit, that you're going to be infested, and that you're going to be, like Father Bing would say, generational curses. If you stay, you're going to bring generational blessings. But if you leave, you're going to be the cause of the downfall of your family, and most likely it's going to be harder to go to heaven. And I don't know if he said you're going to go to hell, but he said that you're going to be a misfit. So it was never nice talk regarding ex-members, and that's why so many stayed when in fact many of us wanted to leave. And the thing is that it was hard to leave. It was hard to entertain the idea about leaving, because you've been trained for so many years that leaving was part of the devil's work, or leaving would be a way for the devil to infest you, to infest your family, and then you're going to be a misfit for the rest of your life. So for me, when I finally was able to leave, that idea was so depressing and so traumatizing, believing that God no longer loved me. And I'm bringing this to light because there were so many ex-members who did leave, or many of them escaped. And you know what the narrative was? Oh, see how the devil gets them? Well, I'm bringing this to light because the truth is there was abuse, there was manipulation, there was deception, there were lies going to the bishops, and all of this to cover up for Father Bing's movement. All of this to cover up for, them getting all of this money, and they would say, hey, we're going to use this for the community. And then I'm in the community, it's like to get the smallest things, like, new clothes, or to get money for good food. All of that's forbidden. While they're traveling the world using that money, using those donations, and then yes, they would send money to our communities, and you know what? They would give us very terrible living conditions. And in my mind, I'm trained. I have to do this. This is for God. This is for love of God. When deep down inside, I felt that some things were not being transparently, there was a lack of transparency. But you have this fear that the devil is after you. You have this fear that if you leave, you're going to be infested like these other ex-members. Well, today I want to remind those who were in my community, and even those who were family members, to please don't look at ex-members as being infested. Don't look at them as if there's something wrong with them, because unfortunately, when many of the members left, it's either you have to still be an obedient follower, or you're gonna be shunned. You're gonna be humiliated. And what sucked is that so many good people gave their life for 15 years, for 10 years, for 5 years, for 1 month. They gave up something to, in their mind, in our mind, was to follow Christ, was to do something good for the church, to do something good for the people. And when many of us woke up and decided, hey, it's time to leave, it's time to get away, when we came home, or when other members came home, they were not welcomed with a thank you for your service. They were welcomed with, how dare you leave your vocation? How dare you betray Christ? And that is the biggest rubbish. Because as Catholics, as Christians, you're humiliating members who gave up their life to follow Christ. Or maybe when they left, they had cases of abuse. And like me, I don't want to make myself look like a victim, but I remember when I left, I tried telling some friends about the things that were happening. And instead of being listened to, what they would tell me is, oh, you're making it up, or it's no big deal, just offer it up, it's your victimhood. And that's why victims remain silent. And it sucks because these people who joined and who left, these are good people. They joined not to do corrupt things. They joined not to be jerks. They joined to serve the church. But in the end, it turned out that we were being used. You could even say trafficked, exploited, because I was still underage when I joined. I was 17. And there were other members who were 15, maybe even younger. And so for those of you who are ex-members, I pray that you get that idea that you're hexed, that you're infested, that you heal from that. Because, me as a Catholic, I believe that God does love us. I believe that God doesn't abandon us. And I believe that our names are written on the palm of His hand. I don't think that just because you left Father Bing or because you left Mother Agnes that God's going to abandon you. And that was the indoctrination that, they gave us. If you leave, you're no good. You're like broken equipment. And I'm going to say those were all lies to keep us in there, to keep us quiet. And so I'm speaking out not out of hatred. And I could hate. And yes, in my podcast, I do say a lot of bad words. And people say, oh, you shouldn't say so many bad words. And I get it. But you know what? People didn't listen when I first left. People didn't listen when I wanted to open up about trauma. They would say, oh, just shut up about it. And so in my podcast, yeah, there are a lot of bad words. But I'm being so raw. I'm being so genuine. And it's important for people to understand that there is a healing process. And when it's bottled up for so long, sadly, many people take their lives because they want to reach out to a friend about trauma, but then they get shamed or they get looked as an outcast. And so I just want to remind, the ex-members who left during this time of abuse and coercion, that there's nothing wrong with you, that God still does love you, that you are a beautiful person, that you have a beautiful soul, and that you can do so much with your life. And I also want to, thank the members who actually stayed in contact with the Vatican and who are trying to do things the right way. Because for those of you who don't know, there was a bit of a split in my group. And what happened is, from what I'm understanding, that this group, that the members who stayed with the Vatican, who stayed transparent, no more BS cover-ups, they're really trying their best to bring in psychology, mental health, no more food, like how they would, keep food from us, and no more sleep deprivation. They're not being treated anymore like animals. I want to thank you guys. I wanted to thank you, brothers and sisters, for trying to do things the right way. And for those of you who are in the old way, which is with Father Bing, and who are still like promoting abuse, promoting silencing members, and viewing ex-members as being infested by Satan, look at the mirror. Look at yourselves, how you're so judgmental. Look at how you're putting down these good men and women who have, as I said earlier, they didn't give money many times. They gave their life. They gave their dreams. They gave their hopes, their ambitions. They gave up relationships, all to be shamed in the end, not to receive a thank you for your service. So I wanted to bring that to light in this short YouTube video, and I just had to get it off my chest, because I think it's just so sickening that members who left, and I don't give a damn if they became Protestant or if they became homosexual or if they are agnostic or atheist. It doesn't matter to me. During those years, they gave service, and they should be respected. They should be loved. And that's what it means to be a Christian. So I'll end it there. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a good and blessed day. Peace.